We found that you create the OPERACY, and it seems that you are the father of the OPERACY program.
Grandfather.
Yeah. So you train a lot of people in Cambodia and maybe other countries in the regions. In the simple term, can you explain to us what is the OPERACY?
In the simple term, the purpose of OPERACY is to make us a better, a more successful, and a happier person, right? So the longer term definition of OPERACY is a scale of one person, individual person, to become more successful, but at the same time by self-regulating their behavior and by leading other people also to become successful. So that's the more fuller definition of OPERACY.
Okay, so why did you create OPERACY program in Cambodia?
It started long before Cambodia. I started in 1992 in the Philippines actually, because I was very frustrated that when we conduct a lot of training and spend a lot of money on people, invested in the training, only very small number of people actually do what they know. Eventually, I come to the realization that they did not do what they know, not because they don't know, but because the mindset blocking them from doing it, right? So that is when I started to develop OPERACY. But also, when I come to many countries like Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, I noticed one thing. Many people keep telling me, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I have to do this because I don't have a choice. And many people feel hopeless. So then, this is my opportunity also to make the training to help people to understand that success is a choice. Happiness is a choice, and then make them feel more hopeful about the future.
Okay, so when did you bring OPERACY to Cambodia?
Like I said, in 1997 I started, right, in Cambodia, and then but at that time only very light. I started seriously in 1999. The OPERACY training itself consists of 3 parts, right? Also the OPERACY books. The first part is to talk about the concept of success. The second part is to ask the question why people fail and how people become successful. And the third part help us to change from unsuccessful to successful person. Mainly by this time, if you follow the training properly, the mind already start to open, the mindset already start to change.
So what type of people should take the OPERACY course?
I think everybody, I'm a bit biased because I created the OPERACY, but I believe that everybody should take OPERACY, because even the successful people, I think they want to be more successful. Yeah? Sometimes successful people are not very happy, So sometimes happy people not very successful. So OPERACY help us to have both at the same time. So we train OPERACY starting from primary school age, high school, university, up to the level of senior government official. We have trained, provided OPERACY almost to most of the ministries in Cambodia. Yes, it is, like I said, OPERACY is key to personal empowerment, so personal self-empowerment. Let's talk about power, all of us, to be successful and happy, to have power to control our life, to control our destiny. Many people feel they cannot control their life, so they lost power. So OPERACY helped them to recover and to regain that, the belief that I can control my life. But there is certain step that we have to do. So yes, it is a self-development course actually.
Okay, then lead me to follow-up questions about what is the difference of the OPERACY course in other course in the market?
Right. There are many good similarity between OPERACY and other courses. For example, there are very close similarity between OPERACY and Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You know, when you see there's similarity, but there are also many major difference. Many development courses based on copying or modeling other successful and good human. But humans are not perfect, you know. Sometimes they also fail, right? So I start to look for some model that are more sustainable and more successful, and I found one model that is the universe itself. So OPERACY, unlike most other different self-development training, focus on developing success using universe as a model, because it is the most successful and the most universal of a successful and the most sustainable model there is. And basically, the forest, the ocean, the stars, the small atom, you and I, we are part of the universe. So in order to be successful, we have to obey the law of the universe. So that is what OPERACY is based on. I call it the law of universal governance with its 5 principles. So the 5 principles is in order to be successful. If you look at the forest, if you look at the ocean, you look at the animal kingdom, and you and I, all of us obey the 5 principles. Number 1 is change. You and I continue change from babies to adulthood and then to old age, and then we pass away. So continue change. And this is no different than what the Lord Buddha said, you know. He said, life is change, nothing is permanent, right? We suffer if we insist things should be the same all the time. So we have to accept everything change, but to be successful, we have to change continually. Number 2 is differentiation or diversity. So if you look around us, around the earth, you know, the forest, the ocean, there are many different animals, different fish, different, even different sunset, you know, different cloud. There is nothing the same. So we have to obey that. What it means is, to be successful, we have to learn many different knowledge. We must not discriminate against people, different religion, different economic background. We have to treat them all the same. And this is in the Buddhism also, right? And then number 3 is all the differences, like go back to differentiation. If you look at our body, we have nose different than the eyes different. If all our body consists of nose everywhere, we die. Because this law of universal governance, is the law of life. It's the law that created the life, is the law that maintains the life. So in life, everything is different, right? And so number 3 is all the different parts of my body must work together as one. So my heart have to work with my brain. If it cannot do that, or refuse to do that, or unable to do that, I become sick and eventually die, collapse. So to be successful, to be healthy, every part of my body have to work together as one. And the same with the organization, you know, the CEO, managers, staff, supervisor, security guard. To be successful, they have to work together as one. The family, the same. Mother, father, children have to work together as one. And the stronger they work together as one, the stronger the system, the more successful they get. So now, number 4 is self-regulation. This unity is very fragile, very easy to break apart, right? And if you break apart, the system fails. So it must be protected. It's protected by self-regulation. My heart have to self-regulate its heartbeat. My body have to regulate the temperature, and if they cannot do that, I become sick. So a healthy body, a successful body, is the one that can self-regulate. So in organization, for example, even the CEO have to self-regulate, the manager have to self-regulate, even the security guard have self-regulate. And if they do that, the system, the company grow, right? And this is the same in the forest, the ocean, must self-regulate. Then, if you're able to do this 4, change, continually improving, have many different things and work together as one and can self-regulate. Now it can do number 5, which is expansion. Expansion is life creating more life, right? Company produce more branches and franchising. These are all expansion. This is where the greatest success come from, right? But first, they have to be able to do these first 5 properly before they can do number 5. For example, if a company cannot self-regulate, cheating the customer, or don't have a good relationship with internally and externally with the customer, they cannot franchise, they cannot grow. So that is this is why I'm very excited, because with these 5 principles, I can teach people how to be good father and mother. I can teach people how to become a good student, a good manager, all one single law, because all of us part of the universe, right? What OPERACY does is to help you to have the right perception. When the Lord Buddha gave us the 8-fold path, number 1 is the right perception. Because the right perception, if you have the wrong perception, your action will be wrong, your speech will be wrong, your livelihood will be wrong. But if you have the right perception, then you can talk properly, communicate nicely. You can, your action will be correct, your livelihood will be correct, right? When you do that, then you become a successful person and a happy person. So, one thing that OPERACY does is to help us to understand life, to have the right perception. Like the 5 principles I was talking about, that's how we see life, So if we don't self-regulate ourselves, if we do corruption, if we're cheating, then we will fail. Because this is natural law, not human law. Human law, like taxation law, you can not pay tax, still be successful. But not natural law. If you jump from a 10-story building, you die. It doesn't matter who you are, because that's the law of gravity, the law of nature. The same with these 5 principles. Right? If you obey all, you cannot fail. If you disobey even one of them or 2 of them, like Pol Pot, he wanted to develop Cambodia, right? Principle number 1 changed, but he failed number 2. He make everybody farmers. He failed number 3. How can you have people work together, in harmony when you're afraid of each other? Self-regulation, never stop killing people. And number 5, which is important, expansion is to become more, right? How can you become more when you kill 1.7 million people? It become less. So he failed. So this is how we help people to see the life properly, right? And then when we see the life properly, then our action will be correct and our result will be correct. So that is how I see, our role. Number 1 is help people to see the situation correctly.
Now, come to Cambodian context. You are living in Cambodia for 26 years, and you are create program to teach many Cambodian people, especially youth and also the senior people. What is the OPERACY means to Cambodian education?
Well, let me go back a little bit, because when I came here in 1996, many of the people that I know, now become senior member of the government and UNDP and World Bank, they were young colleagues of mine, and many of them have lost their parents during the Pol Pot regime. So they always looking for guidance, with other parents. They're looking for guidance. And one thing I love about working in Cambodia is that young people, even now, are so hungry for knowledge. They love to learn, right? And that's why I love to be here, because everybody wants to be successful, right? So by being here, I'm successful as a trainer because people want to learn. So now going back to education in Cambodia, right now Cambodia is progressing quite well, and but the challenge in Cambodia education is no different than the challenge in education everywhere else now, almost the same. For me, one of the biggest challenges in education now is that as technology become more and more prominent, most of our lesson in school are focused on more technical, like to develop our IQ. And sometimes we neglect the EQ, the emotional part. So, but as population increasing, resources become less and less, and climate is start to change, there is a need for us to be able to respond, Leaders of the future must be able to respond to these challenges. And at the moment, I don't believe we're dealing with that enough. So, OPERACY teach us three things: is to have a social skill, like to deal with other people, emotional skill to deal with ourselves, our challenges, and then ecological skill to deal with the challenges of the earth. So this is all about relationship with ourselves internally, relationship with other people, our colleagues, our staff, our community, and then we also have to have developed strong relationship with the earth. That's the only way we can be sustainable as human on this earth, and that's the biggest challenge, and that is my primary concern. And many people start to realize this, and they actually articulate it. We have to have emotional skill, we have to have a soft skill, but unfortunately, intention is not enough. We have to have practice, and to practice, we have to know how to do it. And so, I'm glad that OPERACY actually have somehow contribute to this. Many young people tell us, "You have changed my life. You have made me a better person. You have made me a better father and mother, and so on." So that makes me happy. Yes.
So you're saying OPERACY help to change people the way they think, the way they behave, so that they can absorb the new environments like technologies and the scarcities of the world right now. But in terms of doing business, how would that practical into running businesses nowadays?
You can see life is like a tree, right? And the bottom you have the root, and then you have one single trunk. And from the trunk there are many branches, and from the branches there are the fruit, right? So when we're talking about business, profit, product, that are the fruit, right? And the good fruit cannot appear unless there is a good root underneath. Like the Cambodian proverb said, to plant trees, take care of the root. To develop people, nurture their character. Right? The character is the root. So OPERACY help us to develop strong roots. Right? So in the organization, for example, big company, small company, the same. It's the character of the people that work there, including the manager, including the finance officer, the HR officer. If they have a good character, then they can develop leadership. Because there are leaders and leadership. Leaders are one person, right? Leadership is the relationship of all that person, all the leaders together. How good, how bad, we call that leadership. So if you say, these organizations have great leadership, that means all the leaders, the supervisor, the manager, they work together as one very strong team, right? And then if you have this solid trunk, the leadership, then they develop branches with beautiful fruits. Marketing, procurement, finance, selling, all these things are the fruit. It can only happen when there is good root and then good trunk, good leadership. So that's how I see how OPERACY can contribute to the success of a company is by developing the root, and from that root, leadership can develop. And I like to actually add, we were happy that not only in Cambodia but in many different parts of Southeast Asia, we've been requested by many large companies, international companies, to develop their staff. OPERACY and COOPERACY. COOPERACY is our next training, which is Transformational Leadership. Very popular training. This is our kind of signature training. One is OPERACY, the other one is how to become super mom, super dad. And so super mom, super dad is how parents practice OPERACY, right, in their life. So I will be conducting OPERACY actually this Saturday and Sunday for the next 2 weekends. Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. I will be conducting
2 days.
Yeah, live online. Yes.
Okay. So you're doing the conducting the training next week,
Yes.
this week and
This
next
week.
week for the full 2 weekends.
Yes.
How do they enroll in your program?
Well, we have a Facebook, Facebook page. It's called Christopher Lee Facebook page. So you just go there, and then you send a message to us, to our inbox. Said I'm interested, and one of our team will contact them, and then we can start, arranging the registration. But we also, have a phone number. Some people are not very good like me. I'm not very good at this new digital technology. I like to call people. So if you're not comfortable in getting into our, Facebook page, you can contact through our phone.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lee, for spending your time talking with us about the training of the OPERACY. And we see that OPERACY is very important subject for people to learn. It's also that they can use it to improve their life, their livelihood, and the way of the working. Especially you mentioned about the social relationship, the emotional relationship, and also the skills.
And also the earth relationship.
The other relationships. Final questions. What is your message to the youth today on the OPERACY training?
In OPERACY, we learn that we are all born to be successful, not to fail. So my message to all young people is don't lose heart, Don't lose heart. You are all born to be successful. All you have to do is know how to do it. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is successful people know how to do it. Not because they're more intelligent, not because they're richer, it's just because they know how to do it. So learn how to become successful. But don't give up.